difficult is it to play the saxophone? Now, this is the question I've had asked of me several times, and it's a question you'll find asked a lot on the web. Now, understand that there is a continuum of learning that has 4 unique stages to it when learning any new skill. And I want you to stick around as I'll explain my answer using these 4 stages, because what I think is not painted in black and white, yes or no. Hi, you cool cats. Cadrian here, the Sax Habit Coach, bringing you the best tips, tools, and ideas to help you as a beginner saxophone player develop the practice habits and routines to master your saxophone faster. My purpose is to serve, motivate, and inspire you. So if it's your first time here, consider subscribing. And remember to turn on that notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video here. Now, firstly, anything that you now find easy to do was at one time or another very difficult, right? When you were a baby at a certain stage, you couldn't feed, clean, nor dress yourself. You weren't able to walk or run by yourself. However, you learned how to do all those things over time through modeling, trial and error, and tons of repetition through practice, right? Now, you don't even think about walking. You just do it because you've been doing it all your life. So is the saxophone difficult to play? And if so, how difficult? Now, when compared to other instruments, you'll recognize that the saxophone's characteristics, like all other instruments, are difficult to master. Playing it is another story. Now, essentially, the saxophone is a one melodic line instrument. So reading music from a score or staff may be comparatively easier than reading notes for, let's say, drums, guitars, an accordion, an harp, a piano, or an organ. An oboe, French horn, or a violin definitely takes the winner over a saxophone when it comes to difficulty. But personally, I believe all instruments are easy to play. What I think is difficult, or what is different, is mastery. Now, playing has its limits. There is mastery level playing, novice level playing, amateur level playing, mediocre level playing, and there is also the in-between, and so on. Now, the 4 stages of development to learn any new skill, and for us, the saxophone, are D1, D2, D3, and D4. D stands for development. Now, this is a model I learned from Ken Blanchard on situational leadership that I find applicable in relating to you what I think about the difficulty of playing the saxophone. Now, if you can make it through stage 2, you'll continue on your horn and you'll develop your competence. But what if you don't make it through? You tell me. Now, development stage number 1, this is called the enthusiastic beginner, who has very little to no competence but is highly committed. His naive enthusiasm often overshadows his lack of competence once he gets into playing the saxophone, but his expectations are soon shattered and he quits because it's more difficult to play than he thought. Now, this is a normal phenomenon, or a stage of learning we all go through regardless of what you're learning. Now, stage 2, or development stage 2, who has some amount of competence with low commitment. And this is so because he realizes that there is a discrepancy between his expectations in the beginning and the reality of the current situation. If you make it through this stage, you will reach D3. And D3, this is the cautious performer stage. He has moderate to high competence and variable commitment. And then the final stage, development stage number 4, this is a self-reliant achiever. He has a high level of commitment and a high level of competence. In this stage, he shows up and practices and keeps working through the challenges regardless of how difficult. He's no longer enthusiastic without competence and has made it through the delusional stage, and cautiousness doesn't keep him in check. So again, how difficult is it really to play the saxophone? Well, for a beginner, it's going to definitely be a difficult task. However, if he makes it through stage 2, into stage 3, then the difficulty of playing reduces substantially. So to play the saxophone is difficult based on where you are on the learning continuum and what you choose to do about it, whether you will continue or whether you will quit. Now, if you already started but want to quit and decide to pick up the horn later, the process will start all over again. But if you continue and persistently, patiently, and consistently practice, then the process will become easier and smoother over time. So I dare you, my friend, do not quit, okay? And as always, push, play until something happens.